Hello, everyone, and welcome to another elite episode of the Get Authentic with Marques show. I'm your host, Marques Ogden. On today's episode, we are joined by Mr. Milo Markovic. But before we bring up Milo to the stage, I want to thank one of our amazing sponsors, the Pantheon Group. Joe Pellegrino and his awesome partner, they help to take care of your home and or homes when you're not there with tender loving care, excellent customer experience, and amazing customer service. We thank the Pantheon Group and Joe Pellegrino for sponsoring this episode. Now, here he is. Milo, how you doing
I'm
today,
doing well,
Milo?
Marcus. Thank you for having me. What about you?
I'm doing good, my friend. Everything's coming along well. Milo, first question, sir.
hmm
What does the word authentic slash authenticity mean to you?
it means to me that you're being completely different than anyone else on the marketplace.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? What did Milo just say? You're being completely different than everyone in the marketplace. You are standing out. You're not blending in. When you blend in, ladies and gentlemen, you're not doing it correctly. You should be standing out. And I love this because Milo does a lot of work and works hard to stand out and shine in his industry. Milo, please
Mhm.
tell our global audience more about you and what you do and how you help your client base.
Yeah, I'm basically an insurance wholesaler for the Guardian agency, and we broker some other carriers too. So I primarily work with financial advisors, investment advisors, and other insurance producers to help them with insurance policies that might be life, disability, or long-term care, or more advanced planning strategies. And how I started in this business, I started as an advisor 5 years ago. I was 25 at that time, didn't know anything, so it's kind of it was hard for me at the beginning to build that book of business, but I went through it, and that way I know what the advisor is going through on a day-to-day basis, and I think that's why I can provide more value to them.
Milo, let's go back, like you said, to the beginning. You
Mhm.
started in the business at 25. You didn't know a lot. You were green. You were working through all the challenges that you must work through when you start at the bottom. And I tell everybody, every expert was once a beginner.
Yeah.
Every great teacher was taught, like Socrates taught Plato, like Plato taught Aristotle, like Aristotle taught Alexander the Great, and so on and so forth. This is how it's supposed to be when you start something new. You're not just going to start out and be the expert or the go to person. So, Milo, please share with our global audience when you started, what were some challenges that you had to work through, and how did you overcome those challenges with relying on your attributes over your
Mhm.
skill sets?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. So as you said, when you start, you don't know anything, you don't know what you want to talk about, and especially starting in finance and being an advisor, you really don't know anything. You're 25 years old, nobody trusts you, right? And it's just, especially for me, because I came from Serbia, I didn't have that large network of people. I maybe knew like 70 people. That's it. That's not a lot when you're starting out. And but I told myself, I think I can do this. And I believe in myself. I think that's the most important thing. You need to believe in yourself to the point where you're like delusional, and you're like, hey, I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm never gonna give up on that. So that's the first challenge, was never giving up and just keep going, forward. And I remember how many times I would go home and I would say to myself, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna quit. This is it. I'm done with it, because you don't make a lot of money. You don't have a large network. You're building your business. This can be related to any business, not only finance, like whatever business is starting out. So it's financial, that you don't make a bunch of money, right? You can't pay your bills. You're stressed out. you like waking up, you want to throw up. I had those moments as well when I woke up in the morning, want to throw up, and I don't know, I'm gonna pay for, you know, rent or whatever, and then I need to get ready, overcome that, and go on a meeting and present how I'm gonna provide value to, let's say, client, and that's very difficult because I think you need to conquer yourself and to be able to convince yourself that you can do it and then you can go through that pain. It's very painful at the beginning, but then other challenges are you don't know what you're talking about. People, let's say that they have money, you want to talk with them, right? So then you don't have the knowledge to set up a meeting with them. Then you don't have a great work ethic to be working constantly because you think, oh yeah, let me just work for 5 hours, 10 hours a day because that's sales, right? I don't need to work that hard. But the thing is, you really need to work even 15 hours a day. You need to work weekends. You need to work all the time because you're building your business and you need to be working and hustling until you get to the point where, yeah, later on, you can definitely work less, of course. But in the beginning, you'll need to work hard and to make a lot of calls. To which I didn't make that many calls because no one likes to call and nobody kind of coached me at the beginning that, you need to make a bunch of calls and to see a lot of people so you can achieve greater success. And yeah, there are some kind of challenges in a nutshell.
Milo, that was such a great segment on so many different challenges, hardships, real life stories. Like you said, you were sick to the point where you were throwing up or were about to throw up and stressed out. How are you going to pay the bills? How are you going to take care of this? How are you going to take care of that? I remember those sleepless nights, Milo. Oh my goodness gracious. I had them all the time in 2013 when I moved from Baltimore to Raleigh with $400 to my name and getting fired from two jobs in the same weekend, losing my nationally successful multi-million dollar construction company and moving here with nothing and having to start at the bottom and all this other stuff. And then the creditors were coming after me and bills weren't getting paid and having to, hoping and praying that the credit card would give you enough to take care of food for the day or for the week for the family. I remember it like it was yesterday. And boy, was it hell on earth. So the fact you're here now, that is awesome, right? But I want to talk about what you do in your job because you talked about you are a insurance broker and wholesaler. You work with financial planners, right? Or people
Yeah.
in that space. And the biggest thing I feel that people in that space want is trust. You build trust through reliability, right? And competency, right? And having people's best interests. Again, competency, reliability, having people's best interests.
Yeah.
Can you please explain more to our global audience that may not understand insurance, what you actually do? Again, helping people to get, life or disability. I understand it because I have a finance degree and I've been around and I speak a lot in these industries. But people that don't know, explain more and explain, right, Milo, how trust has been the foundational piece that's allowed you to thrive through any storm.
Yeah, great question. So, what I do, for example, many, let's say, we have a lot of financial advisors that might be independent. So that means they're with an independent broker dealer, and they can basically uh, broker any insurance company. But now they need a brokerage general agency to be able to get to those insurance companies. You can't go direct. With some companies you can, with some companies you cannot. So that's why we are there where we have those contracts so you can go through us to get those services. I mean the contract for your clients. That's that. Then now let's say, for example, we have other advisors who are mutual with the mutual companies. For example, like New York Life person, Norvesti Mutual, Mass Mutual, and so on. So they do have their own solutions, but let's say due to the underwriting or a product reasons, they can't place that solution with their own company, but they want to provide the best value to their clients. They're gonna go outside of their company and to, let's say, use our brokerage services to get insurance for their clients. They might be life, disability, or long-term care. And what we provide value is, let's say, an advisor he needs to know a lot about taxes, right? Investments, insurance, retirement planning. That's already a lot on their plate. So imagine now they know the underwriting guidelines to every insurance company out there, which would be it would be a lot. Like there's no way they can. You can't be a jack of all trades, right? You can specialize in one area. So for me, I will specialize in this area. That's it. I don't do anything else. So now when an advisor comes to me, they're like, "Hey, I have a client, and this is the situation." And based on all the factors like their health, how what are they trying to do, what are they trying to achieve, and based on that, I know where we can go to get the best possible solution for their clients. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. And the trust around the trust, yeah, you want to show up. That's the what I see with the younger people. I mean, I'm young, right? But I see with a lot of young people that you can lean on them, and that's I think the problem for the next generation, really, because I believe that if I promise something to you, I'm going to deliver it, and I'm going to show up. Only if I end up going to the hospital, I'm not going to show up because I can't. But any other way, I will show up. You need to have that business integrity, and I see a lot of people they don't have that, and if you do that and you repeat that and people see that you were always there for them, they will always give you a business. And I think that's what's differentiating me from other people on the marketplace. So I hope that answered your question, Mike.
Oh, it answers it beautifully, Milo. So, a couple things, ladies and gentlemen. What Milo is saying is that his ability to help people find the best deals, to go out and work for his client and their best interest fiscally and responsibly, and do so in a professional fashion and be reliable, has allowed him to thrive through the storm of just as like any storm in any business. Anytime you start out and when you're new, it's always a storm, right? It's always a challenge. It's always a hardship to get going because you have to what? Get people to know and be excited about you and what you're doing. And that's going to be my next question for you here, Milo. But again, ladies and gentlemen, Milo excuse me, in that last segment, how he shows up for people. He's professional, he's reliable, and that's big. Now, Milo, let's talk about something that we are very fortunate here at Ogden Ventures in our pockets to talk a lot about. We get hired a lot for this with clients. Sales, right? Sales conferences, sales kickoffs, right, Milo? Sales to me is the transfer of energy. It's the transfer where you have passion, excitement, a bunch of energy, right, Milo, for what you're selling, your product, and or your service. And then when you're talking to a prospective client, you've done such a great job sharing your energy, sharing your passion, that what you feel transfers onto them and then they want to buy. So my question is for you, right, Milo? How do you excel at transferring your energy, your excitement, your passion to help your clients or prospective clients onto them to get not only their business, right, Milo, but you also get referrals and constant people coming that are what? Attracted to you because of how you treat and how you give excellent customer experience, right, Milo, to
Yeah.
your clients.
Yeah. I love that. That's very important. And I just talked yesterday with my CEO about energy and how people don't want to be surrounded with people who drain the energy. They like to be surrounded with people that give other people energy. And I think I'm a giver. I have a high energy by myself. I'm all over the place, right? I can just be seeing people all day and I'm super happy because I love to be surrounded with people. But I think, let me go back to the beginning is you want to provide value. So when I started in business, I didn't always think I'm just want to provide value. Honestly, it was all about me, how much money I want to make. Uh, it was really about that. It was selfish, right? And I don't mind admitting that because it's the reality. And then when I changed that to be, hey, it's not all about money, okay? And what I want to do, I want to provide value to people, and that's number one. I want to provide value, and I tell that every day to myself when I start a day. Hey, I would love to provide value. Before me coming to this podcast, I said, hey, I love to provide value to people. If I can help other people who are out there struggling and want to give up, That's awesome. I love to do that. It's not all about money. So I think telling yourself that you want to provide value to people, it's super crucial and very important. If you do that, then people gonna be like, oh wow, I just received great value. And of course I'm gonna refer this guy to anybody that I know. And sometimes we need to ask people for introductions too. I wouldn't use. I learned from other producers as well that they don't like using word referrals. They like using words introductions, as they don't know if they end up doing business with you, but at least you can say, "Hey, could you introduce me to X, Y, and Z person? I can see if I can provide value to them. If we're a good fit, if we are not a good fit, then we'll stay friends, and that's it." And I think keeping that, taking that sale pressure from potential prospect, it's very important before you book a call or meeting, whatever. And that's at that time you find out if you are a good fit for them. And if you are not a good fit, then that's fine. They can, go their own way, you go your own way, and that's it. And it's completely fine. And I always tell that people when I call, I said, I really don't know if we're going to be a good fit, but I'd love to learn more about your business. And if I can provide value, great. If you think that I'm not a good fit, just let me know while on call, and there you go. We pair par as friends, and that's it. And I think that's human. I'm not trying to trick anybody. I'm not trying to use any sales, tricks, because there are no tricks to it. And I think that's kind of the best advice I can give to someone.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not about trying to trick someone into buying something from you. It's not about you trying to pull the wool over someone's eyes to get someone to buy something from you. It's not about trying to give people what you think they need versus what they tell you they need or what they say they want. It's not about you. Sales is not about you. This was a great interview today because Milo touched on the adversities of starting in the business, how he's thrived through the business, how he's continued to soar through introductions and growth and hard work and professionalism. Great interview. Milo, if people want to get in touch with you to find out more information about you, your products, and or services, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, you can just give me a call at 312-837-0022, or they can just send me an email at milo.markovic at twealth.us. And me or someone from my team would reach out to them. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Or you can Google milomarkovic.com. There you go.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go and Google Milo. You can reach out to him. Great interview. Just phenomenal guy. And again, we want to thank the Pantheon Group and Joe Pellegrino for sponsoring this amazing episode. And the authentic tip of this great interview, one of my great friends, Mr. Bob Berg, live by the law of value, which states give far more value than you take in payment. Again, give far more value than you take in payment. When you live your life and you conduct business that way, great things happen. Again, my name is Marques Ogden. I am the host of the Get Authentic with Marques show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic day.